Now on CoastTV News.
Taxpayer tension. We look at the potential relief for Delaware property owners, and some in the General Assembly think not enough was done in Tuesday's special session.
It's another morning with areas of dense fog. Take it slow on the roads. Otherwise, warm and humid the next couple of days with scattered showers and thunderstorms. I'll time it out on Futurecast coming up next.
Floodwaters force rescues, the effect from several inches of rain in Tennessee Tuesday night, and what it means for people in this area as they wake up today.
Cannabis crackdown, that is under consideration in Greenwood, what the town is reviewing in an ordinance.
This is CoastTV News Today.
Welcome to our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. It is Wednesday, August 13th, 2025.
Middle part of the week. Get in the middle part of August, Labor Day coming up.
And today is my little brother's birthday.
Ah.
I always think that when it hits my brother's birthday, I'm like, all right, summer is halfway over.
Now you're the older, he's your little brother, but he's got some height on him, if I recall.
Yes, he's about a foot taller than me. So, but I'm still the oldest sibling.
So you got that over him.
I do.
Okay.
My mom used to say growing up, she's like, one day he's going to be a lot taller than you. And she was right. But Bob, I hope today that the weather is good for my brother's birthday so he can go golfing. That's what he likes to do.
Absolutely, and happy birthday to Elisa's brother, fellow Leo, or maybe he's a Virgo. He's a Leo, all right. Leo's got to stick together, so happy birthday to him. We are looking at a foggy start out there this morning, and the visibilities have been fluctuating. The lowest I could find is around Dover, about 1/3 of a mile, 3/4 of a mile in fog in Georgetown, 2.5 in Cambridge, and other areas showing better visibility, but don't let your guard down. We could still be looking at fog around Salisbury back through Ocean City. It's warm out there, low to mid 70s across the board right now, 74 in Georgetown and Millsboro, and dew points pretty close to the actual temperature, and that's why we have the muggy conditions and the fog at the light southwesterly breeze. And once the fog burns off, we will see a mix of sun and clouds. We have some showers back to our west of DC, and with the heating of the day, those could definitely move in a little bit later on. But this morning, the main concern is low clouds and fog. That'll be burning off mid-morning to very warm temperatures, mid to upper 80s by the noon hour. A little cooler at the beaches, a little bit of a sea breeze there, but close to 90 inland, and some clouds and maybe a stray storm into the afternoon with feels like temperatures into the mid-90s. So really be careful in the fog this morning. Pack your patience. Gave you the red light for that and the yellow light for some scattered storms this afternoon. Also a pretty hot car. So take it slow out there.
All right, thanks, Bob. And let's get a better look at what he was just talking about with the fog. Check out Ellendale. This is just moments ago, intersection of Route 113 and 16. You can see the fog through the Steldoc camera, a little thick there. Elisa, you have eyes a little west of this area.
Yes, let's check out Seaford. This is where US 13 and Delaware 20 meet. As we can see, the visibility is not the greatest there in Seaford. It's another foggy start for some areas of Delmarva this morning, so be careful driving to work today.
Yes, indeed. And now heavy rain caused massive flooding in Tennessee on Tuesday. Check out the video that we have here. Officials say the severe weather shut down several roads as emergency crews rescued people from the waters. At least 6 inches of rain fell on Tuesday night at Chattanooga Metropolitan Airport, and some school districts in that area are closed today due to that weather.
This just in, Governor Meyer has signed a series of bipartisan bills aimed at easing the burden following Delaware's first property reassessment in decades. This after a special session on Tuesday. According to Governor Meyer, the legislation creates fair tax rates, gives homeowners flexible payment plans, and even provides refunds to people who overpaid. Lawmakers say the changes will also keep school funding intact. However, at a press conference, Republican leaders expressed concern over what they call a rushed process, with rules suspended to introduce and vote on the bills in the same day. And for more information on the bill signed by Governor Meyer, you can head to CoastTV.com.
Now, prior to the start of the special session, Democratic Representative Alana Berry was sworn in. That gives District 20 a voice in Legislative Hall for the first time this year. In a speech in the House chamber, Berry said she's excited to hit the ground running. As her first day coincided with that special session, she named education and public safety as her top priorities.
Grateful for the district trusting me to sit in this seat and be their voice. I'm most looking forward to getting to know folks in my district to being as visible and as present as I can be, and to being here in Dover and voting on things that matter to my constituents.
Barry won the District 20 special election just last week. It was a seat held by still Parker Selby, who first took office in 2023. But after winning re-election last year, Parker Selby missed every single day of the legislative session due to health reasons and then resigned her seat in June.
A high crash location could possibly be getting a roundabout to ease congestion and improve safety. The roundabout is aimed to be constructed at the intersection of Gravel Hill Road and Sand Hill Road. Happening today, DelDOT representatives are hosting a workshop from 4 to 7 p.m. at Milton Elementary School. If you can't make it, officials say they will be accepting digital comments through September 19th.
Also happening today in Delaware, Governor Meyer is set to sign legislation moving the Department of Veteran Affairs closer to operation. The legislation creates the department. It was approved by both chambers of the General Assembly, and lawmakers say 70,000 veterans in Delaware will have their issues represented in this new department, which is a cabinet secretary level office. Governor Meyer is scheduled to sign House Bill 1 later this morning.
The Millsboro Police Department is saying farewell to its chief. According to the agency, the now retired Chief Brian Calloway is stepping away to take on a new teaching position. Calloway posted a goodbye message to the department's Facebook page saying, quote, "Please know that I leave with a full heart and tremendous pride in the years I've served in Millsboro." And happening today, housing rules are up for discussion in Lewis, this at the Planning Commission meeting. Members are expected to consider recommending changes to the mayor and city council on accessory dwelling units. The rule deciding whether or not homeowners are required to live in one of the units is at the center of review. Officials say this comes after it was discovered that several properties with existing ADUs are being used entirely as short-term rentals. That is considered to be non-compliant. The meeting is taking place at 6 o'clock at the Margaret H. Rollins Center.
And this morning we are looking at a push to ban pot in Greenwood. Town officials will hold a first reading of an ordinance on regulating the drug. Council says it wants to ban both businesses that sell and manufacture marijuana. After the first reading, people will have a chance to provide input on the proposal, which will then need a second reading before it can be finalized. The Greenwood Town Council meeting is tonight at 6:30.
Marijuana restrictions are no stranger to Sussex County. Dewey Beach, Fenwick Island, South Bethany, Bethany Beach, Milton, and Rehoboth Beach have banned retail marijuana completely. Lewis has been considering regulations to allow it. Dagsboro voted to ban the sale and production of marijuana, but Georgetown's town council has now approved an ordinance that will allow for retail marijuana sales, cultivation, and testing, though it will be heavily regulated.
And we're now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. this Wednesday morning. President Trump expected to meet virtually today with European leaders ahead of his face-to-face with Russian President Putin. U.S. allies want to say in any possible outcome that leads to peace in Ukraine. So is Ukrainian leader Zelensky, who says Trump and Putin cannot agree to any deal without his country's input.
NBC's Alice Barr shows us that and why the White House is defending the president's move to take over the nation's capital.
A new site for tourists at some of Washington, D.C.'s most visited landmarks as hundreds of National Guard troops began deployments in the nation's capital overnight, joining D.C. police now under federal control for 30 days on orders from President Trump, who declared a public safety emergency.
We are removing as many criminals from the streets and we are cleaning up D.C. as best as we can.
The White House touting 23 arrests Monday night by federal agents from homicide to guns and drugs, also promising to remove homeless encampments and move people to shelters for services or to jail if they refuse.
These are pre-existing laws that are already on the books. They have not been enforced.
Protesters and critics in Congress slamming what they call a manufactured crisis and presidential overreach.
He's taking away checks and balances.
City leaders pointing to dropping violent crime stats over the past 2 years. The mayor meeting with the attorney general, promising to make the most of the surge in federal resources while criticizing what she called an authoritarian push.
We all need to do what we can in our space, in our lane, to protect our city. and to protect our autonomy.
It all comes as the Trump administration is also focused overseas, preparing for Friday's summit in Alaska between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, which the White House now calls a listening session, confirming Ukrainian President Zelensky will not join, though he is speaking by phone today with President Trump and European allies, pushing for Ukraine to have a voice in ending the Russian assault. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
We're just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News today.
Yeah, coming up, beware of Bethany beaches, why state officials say you may want to stay out of the water in that town.
Also, solutions to support growth. We'll tell you about the ideas discussed by the Sussex Preservation Coalition.
And more flights for Delaware, how one airline is bringing more options for people traveling to tropical destinations. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
6:12 on our Wednesday morning. FH Furcam, some low clouds, some high clouds on the Cambridge Cam. Beautiful shot as the sun's on the rise. Seeing 3/4 of a mile in fog in Cambridge and Georgetown, only about 1/3 of a mile in Dover, so take it slow out there. The fog will be lifting mid-morning as we have temperatures right now in the low to mid-70s, just a light southwesterly breeze. And once the fog burns off, I think we'll see some high clouds during the morning hours. And we've got some storms well to our west, and I think some of that disturbed weather will move in later today with the heating of the day, maybe kicking off a couple of storms. We do have it in the good category to cut the grass today. Fair category Thursday, I think a better chance of storms. And then pretty good Friday into Saturday as it dries out a little bit with some sunshine.
Thank you, Bob. The Indian River School District will host open houses this month, giving students and parents a chance to meet teachers, view class lists, and tour school buildings. The district says the open houses will take place August 26th to the 28th, showcasing different schools each day. The new school year begins Tuesday, September 2nd, for kindergarten, 6th and 9th graders, as well as Howard T. Ennis students, excluding preschool. Grades 1st through 5, 7 and 8, and 10 through 12 start Wednesday, September 3rd. Preschool programs, including Howard T. Ennis, begin Monday, September 8th.
Velo Airlines is expanding service out of the Wilmington airport. They're adding more flights to Orlando, and they're bringing back nonstop service to San Juan this fall. Starting October 1st, flights to Orlando will double to 4 times a week. And Avelo's seasonal nonstop route to San Juan will return with extra flights around the holidays.
An artificial intelligence search company has made a huge offer to buy a well-known web browser. An unsolicited bid from Perplexity to purchase Google's Chrome browser is worth $34.5 billion. The startup company has a search tool that uses AI models to generate web content and answer questions. Perplexity's AI search engine has been in competition with Google since 2022.
All right, this is a big one here. Powerball jackpot up to $526 million. That's because no one matched the 6 numbers that were drawn on Monday. The new jackpot has a one-time cash payout. That's $241 million. And the next drawing, Bob, pay attention. It's today. Need to get your tickets.
I do, and my wife keeps reminding me, get the tickets for Powerball. Hey, we've got the camera shot of the morning. Here comes the sun over the fog, and we're looking at some high clouds above. Just a beautiful shot in Laurel right now. Take it easy in that dense fog this morning. It burns off mid-morning and then warm and humid, and we're looking at some showers and storms the next couple of days, drying out into the weekend. I'll have your full forecast in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Time is 6:17. Here is a live look at a calm scene near the banks of the Choptank River in Cambridge. And Bob, we are in the middle of August, and today it's going to feel like the middle of August.
That's exactly what it's going to feel like, Matt. Like the middle of August, like the middle of summer. We're in the dog days of summer. And by the way, they call it the dog days because of the dog star Sirius. Yeah, but you know, we typically see very hot weather this time of year, and today and tomorrow no exception. As the humidity is rising, it's hot, it's sticky. As high pressure sliding offshore, we're getting into that return flow around that high pressure. This morning, our weather hazard is fog, as we we've been talking about. 3/4 of a mile in Cambridge and Georgetown right now, about 1/3 of a mile in Dover, and wow, like 1/8 of a mile in Salisbury. So once again, we're seeing these visibilities dropping off very quickly. So really be careful out there. The fog will burn off here by mid-morning. 74 in Seaford and Georgetown and Millsboro right now, 75 in Lewis, and nearly matching dew points, meaning, well, we're looking at very humid and foggy conditions with a light southwesterly breeze. And once the fog burns off, we're looking at some high clouds building in from the west. Otherwise, a warm, sticky day as we're looking at more clouds farther to the west, seeing some showers from Virginia up into western PA right now. And with the heating of the day, some of these will be moving into our neck of the woods. Otherwise, we're looking at a couple of cold fronts to the Midwest, and these fronts will be moving through on Thursday and start to bring in some drier air as we go into Friday. But until then, still pretty muggy, and we're dealing with that fog this morning till about 9 or 10 a.m. and then lifting and then getting really warm by early afternoon, upper 80s and low 90s with 70s and 80s at the coast. And this evening, temperatures still very warm around 5:30, mid 80s inland areas. A spotty shower or thunderstorm is possible. Overnight, we're looking at partly cloudy skies, once again warm and muggy, low 70s tomorrow morning. And then on Thursday, temperatures mid to upper 80s, close to 90 by 4 p.m., 70s and 80s. This model not showing a lot in the way of shower and storm activity, but I think we will see some around as we go through that time period. Looking at very humid conditions the next 3 days, and then we start to dry it out a little bit as we go into the weekend as slightly drier air builds in, as we're looking at feels like temperatures the mid-90s away from the beaches today and mid-90s as well Thursday, with 80s at the coast. Not as bad on Friday as we have some drier air building in. Here's Tropical Storm Erin, winds 45 miles per hour, chugging to the west at 20. It's slowly developing. It's dealing with Saharan dust and also some dry air, but eventually it'll get into a better environment and become a hurricane on Friday, and then probably a major hurricane north of Puerto Rico. Then after that, it looks like it hooks to the north. All the models are taking it out to sea. However, we're continuing to watch it. A little wobble to the west could change things, but right now it looks like it tracks to our east near Bermuda and then out to sea. Definitely kicking up the seas next week, and also a rip current risk beginning Wednesday into Thursday. 87 in Seaford and Georgetown today, maybe some afternoon storms, upper 80s from Easton to Vienna, around 85 in Crisfield, 85 in Chincoteague. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, close to 90 the next 2 days with that storm chance, and then drier Friday, 86 mid to upper 80s this weekend, mostly sunny, mid 80s into early next week, maybe some storms again by Tuesday.
Like Bob just mentioned, temperatures are expected to be hot today, so here's some information about cooling centers on Delmarva. In Maryland, Worcester County typically uses its libraries as cooling centers, and the Civic Center normally serves that purpose in Salisbury. And here are the options offered in Sussex County by the Delaware Department of Health and Social Services. Today from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., people can head to the Adams State Service Center in Georgetown, also the State Service Centers in Bridgeville, Laurel, and Milford, along with the Shipley State Service Center in Seaford.
The Sussex Preservation Coalition held a public discussion to consider recommendations for the county. Some of those include establishing growth conservation areas, also changing the Sussex County rental program. Coalition President Jill Hicks says public feedback shapes these suggestions.
There is a real public concern about how development has far outpaced infrastructure. There is obviously a concern about safety, living in what we would call a livable Sussex.
And these recommendations are looking to update the county code and the comprehensive land use plan.
More to come on CoastTV News today. Coming up, beware of Bethany beaches. We'll tell you what's causing a water advisory for the beach town. Don't go anywhere.
I have a message to tell you about from the Meyer Institute. The officials there are asking you to keep an eye out for this sea turtle near the Ocean City Inlet. Meyer says the animal appears to have been hooked or entangled, and if you spot it, do not try to free it yourself. Instead, call the National Aquarium Animal Rescue.
Another water advisory is happening at the Delaware beaches, this time in Bethany Beach. According to DENREC, fecal indicator bacteria is above the standard in Bethany. Officials say people with weakened immune systems could become sick from the water. The advisory is expected to be lifted when those bacteria levels go back to normal. This is one of several swimming advisories put in place at Delaware beaches in recent weeks. And today is the type of day where you're going to want to go into the water, so maybe stick with the pool or just not go in the Bethany
Yeah, if
beaches
you're going to be out there,
sunscreen
is a key, Elisa.
Yeah.
My tip to you.
Always. Good.
Or
good
an
job.
umbrella.
Both. Yes.
I'm full of tips, Bob.
And Matt, one way to
stuff.
avoid the jellyfish that I know, well, none of us really like, go in the pool. Yeah, and they have saltwater pools now too. So, well, that's another option. We're looking at Chincoteague and Assateague with lots of clouds, some fog this morning, some peaks of sun this afternoon, low 80s. Rip current threat is low. UV index is very high. Waves around 2 to 3 feet. Fenwick Island and Ocean City, you're in the low 80s. Maybe a stray storm later on. On the Bayside, the next 3 days, we're looking at a few storms as we go into today and tomorrow. Then a little cooler into Friday for Cambridge, and then mid 80s for Crisfield the next 3 days. Maybe a few storms today and tomorrow, maybe very early on Friday. Then we're clearing it out for the weekend. Another good-looking August weekend on the way. More on that coming up in the next half hour.
And after the break on Coast TV News today, move to ban marijuana. We'll tell you how the process advances in Greenwood.
Also, attempt to clear congestion, how you can learn about a possible roundabout coming to one busy intersection near Milton.
And we take a look at the legislation that came out of the special session in Delaware on Tuesday, why Governor Meyer supports the bills and why some Republicans are expressing concern. Coast TV News today. We'll be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
Tax burden break. That is what supporters in Delaware are calling the legislation signed into law on Tuesday. Why there is some pushback on what is being labeled as fixes to the property assessment issue.
Summit stakes. President Trump is meeting Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky today. What is expected ahead of Friday's summit with Russian leader Vladimir Putin?
It's another morning with areas of dense fog. Take it slow on the roads. Otherwise, warm and humid the next couple of days with scattered showers and thunderstorms. I'll time it out on Futurecast coming up next.
Safety Circle Solution. DelDOT makes its work plans pitch for this area near Georgetown.
This is Coast TV News Today.
August 13th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
And we're about to hit 6:30 on this Wednesday morning. If you're just joining us, Bob moments ago had his lawn mowing forecast. He said today's a great day to mow your lawn.
And that's what you're going to do after
work today? It is on
today?
the agenda today. That's why I brought it
But
up.
you're a little jealous of Bob because he said his lawn is dead.
Yeah, that's my favorite lawn color is brown, which means I
My
don't have
dad
to do
would be
anything.
so disappointed to hear that.
I know he would.
Oh my goodness. Bob, what are we going to do about Matt?
I hope it's not dead because that means a lot of seeding. I would like to call it dormant. Brown and short, just the way Matt likes it because he says it doesn't grow otherwise. All right, we are looking at dense fog once again, really thick around Salisbury, about 1/8 of a mile there, 1/4 mile in Georgetown, 1/3 of a mile in Dover, 1 in Cambridge. So once again, really be careful out there. We're seeing some very thick fog that will be around for a couple of hours, so pack your patience. Georgetown and Millsboro is 74 right now, the same for Bethany Beach, 70 in Willards. It's mild, it's muggy, dew points nearly matching the actual temperature with a light breeze, and we're looking at the fog, but once that lifts, we'll be looking at some high clouds this morning, a warm and muggy day, and right now we are seeing some showers and storms back through Virginia into Pennsylvania. Some of those could be moving in later today with the heating of the day, but this morning we're watching for the fog. It starts to burn off mid-morning and those temperatures start to skyrocket. We get into more sunshine, 12:30, upper 80s inland, 70s and 80s at the beaches, close to 90 by mid-afternoon. I think we could see a few storms as we go into the afternoon, and feels like temperatures away from the beaches into the mid-90s. Strolling on the boardwalk today, looking good, light winds, and make sure you have your sunscreen and the jug of water. Looking at a mix of sun and clouds, and temperatures by early afternoon mid 80s, but close to 90 inland areas.
Thank you, Bob. If you are about to hit the road in the middle part of Sussex County, here's what it looks like in Millsboro. As we can see, that fog is very present there. Visibility not the greatest. This is high above Route 113 and John J. Williams Highway. Matt, what does Salisbury look like now?
Yeah, at least we actually have a live look at Salisbury. Look at that. You can still see the fog there. This is near Salisbury University. Foggy morning there in the heart of Wycomico County, and we are working on another morning of more fog inland at this particular hour.
Our top story this half hour, President Donald Trump says he plans to call Ukraine before he meets with Russian President in Alaska Friday. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country should have a voice now.
Yeah, Amy Kiley shows us what is at stake as the war between Russia and Ukraine intensifies.
It is a race to Friday.
President Donald Trump is meeting virtually with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and several other European leaders today. Their conversation is a precursor to Trump's summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday.
President Trump is determined to try and end this war and stop the killing.
Significant obstacles stand in the way of a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. Zelensky wants security guarantees from allies. He says otherwise Russia could attack again in the future. Zelensky says Putin already is planning an offensive as soon as next month.
Putin is determined only to present a meeting with America as his personal victory and then continue acting exactly as before.
Another sticking point involves land. Zelensky says handing over parts of eastern Ukraine could set the stage for another Russian invasion. Trump sounds less worried about that.
There'll be some land swapping going on. I know that through Russia and through conversations with everybody to the good, for the good of Ukraine.
Critics say it's too early for such concessions.
We're too eager to get a deal, and that puts us at a disadvantage.
Some analysts predict Putin will use Friday's summit to try to turn Trump against Zelensky. Trump sometimes seems frustrated with the Ukrainian leader.
He seems to blame Ukraine consistently for somehow having been invaded by Russia.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Last night, Delaware Governor Matt Meyer signed a series of bipartisan bills. This is an attempt to address some of those shocking property tax figures following the state's first reassessment in decades. According to Governor Meyer, the legislation creates fairer tax rates, gives homeowners flexible payment plans, and even provides refunds to people who overpaid. Lawmakers say the changes will also keep school funding intact.
While the legislation has bipartisan support, there are still differing opinions in the General Assembly. According to Governor Meyer, the bills are, quote, step in the right direction towards, quote, quality schools and affordable communities. However, at a press conference, Republican leaders expressed concern over what they call a rushed process. According to Representative Brian Shoup, the, quote, disturbing trend is just the beginning.
A high crash location near Georgetown and Milton could see a new roundabout with the hopes of improving traffic flow and safety. Plans call for construction at the intersection of Gravel Hill Road and Sand Hill Road, and happening today. DelDOT representatives hosting a workshop from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. This is at the Milton Elementary School, and if you can't make it there, officials say they are accepting digital comments through September 19th.
The Millsboro Police Department is saying farewell to its chief. The agency confirms that now retired Chief Brian Calloway is stepping away to take on a new teaching position. Calloway posted a goodbye message to the department's Facebook page saying, quote, please know that I leave with a full heart and tremendous pride in the years I've served in Millsboro.
Happening today in Delaware, Governor Meyer is set to sign legislation on the Department of Veteran Affairs. The legislation creating the department, approved by both chambers of the General Assembly. Lawmakers say 70,000 veterans in Delaware will have their issues represented in this new department, which is a cabinet secretary level office. Governor Meyer is scheduled to sign House Bill 1 later this morning. And there is a push to ban pot in Greenwood. Town officials are holding a first reading of an ordinance on regulating the drug. Council there says it wants to ban both businesses that sell and manufacture marijuana. And after the first reading, people will have a chance to provide input on the proposal, which will need a second reading before it can be finalized. The Greenwood Town Council meeting is tonight at 6:30.
New overnight, hundreds of National Guard troops began their deployments in the nation's capital just a few hours ago, joining D.C. police now under federal control for 30 days on orders from President Trump, who declared a public safety emergency. The White House is touting 23 arrests Monday night by federal agents, from homicide to guns and drugs. Protesters and critics in Congress slamming what they call a manufactured crisis and presidential overreach.
We are removing as many criminals from the streets, and we are cleaning up D.C. as best as we can.
He's taking away checks and balances.
The mayor is meeting with the attorney general, promising to make the most of the surge in federal resources while criticizing what she called an authoritarian push.
And we got a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, Laurel Youth Learn, we show you how the Laurel Youth Police Academy aims to keep children connected to their community.
Also, coming off a championship, Indian River High School football team, they have high expectations this fall, and we preview how the Indians stack up compared to last year's squad. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
We salute Alvin Buddy Simpson for his extraordinary 70 years in the fire service. In the early 1970s, he helped start the ambulance service in Greensboro, expanding emergency care for his community. He also chaired the restoration of the historic 1927 Hale Pumper, preserving a proud piece of local history. A Korean War veteran, Buddy served his country with honor and spent a lifetime serving others at home.
Spicer Brothers and Coast TV are honoring military persons and first responders serving Delmarva. If you have a family member, friend, or community member that you would like to nominate for a Coast TV salute, go to coasttvsalutes.com.
It is 6:40 on our Wednesday morning. The big story is the fog. You can see it on the Lewis cam right now, the Tunnel and Razor cam. It's pretty socked in, as we have only about 1/8 of a mile in fog in Salisbury, 1/4 mile in Dover and Georgetown. So really take it slow out there. This fog not burning off until mid-morning. It's mild. Temperatures in the low to mid 70s. Light winds right now, and we're seeing the fog, which will burn off to high clouds, and maybe later today a few showers and storms as the heat and humidity are cranking up. Here's your golf forecast for today. Morning fog and then warm and humid. Make sure you have plenty of water. And if you hear thunder, go indoors later today, and temperature of 87. Congratulations to Kevin Buchanan from Ocean City. He is the proud owner of a new umbrella from Paul Davis and Coast TV.
Thank you, Bob. Maryland State Police are warning people about a scam. They say scammers are impersonating troopers and using real names or fake caller IDs. The agency emphasizes they will not contact you for payment or personal information. They say when in doubt, hang up and call your local state police barrack directly to verify.
Cambridge is giving people in the city a say in shaping its future, and it all starts August 18th with a kickoff event for its comprehensive plan. Officials say the plan will cover how land, housing, transportation, and the use of other resources will occur over time. Maryland law requires these plans to address everything from community facilities and development regulations to sensitive environmental areas and fisheries. City leaders say public participation is key, and people living in Cambridge can attend meetings, join listening sessions, or send in written comments.
Only on Delmarva. Check this out. DelDOT shared these photos of an escaped horse in Harrington, and you can see the employees alongside a Good Samaritan keeping the horse safe until its owner arrived.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
In Delaware, the high school football season is just over 2 weeks away, and later today, we at DSN head over to Dadsboro to go inside the huddle of Indian River, who just last fall captured its 3rd state title in program history. The Indians' 2024 season won't be forgotten anytime soon. In the Class 1A state title game, IR outlasted Tatnall 47-45. Not only was it Indian River's 3rd ever championship win, but first since 2011. Rising senior Darnell Stokes was certainly a catalyst. The Syracuse commit scored 4 touchdowns against Tatnall and 22 on the year. As a Cuse alum, I proudly say, go Orange. Stokes isn't the only key piece to return. So is reigning Class 1A District 2 Coach of the Year, Philip Townsend. The 11th year head man said his 2024 group was his most talented yet. For our preview of how Townsend's team shapes up this season, don't miss the final score on DSN tonight at 10:30 and follow live Indian River coverage throughout the day on our socials at Delmarva Sports Network. Have a great rest of your morning. That's all we've got with sports.
And coming up tonight on DSN at 7, we got some high school football to show you. Cape Henlopen taking on Lake Forest, and then catch the final score at 10:30.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
Dense fog is a big story this morning. We're seeing the low clouds and fog. Looks like right on top of the bridge there, the IR Inlet Bridge. Ocean View 75 right now. The fog burns off to warm and humid conditions the next few days with some showers and storms, then drying out heading into the weekend. I'll have your forecast details in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
The time is now 6:46 and we are taking a live look outside at Lewis this morning. And Bob, we are not seeing any sun outside yet. Looks like it is a foggy situation in Lewis, which we've been talking about all morning. So if you're driving, just be extra cautious.
Really, that is great advice, Elisa. Pack your patience. I think we could be seeing the sun poking through the fog a little bit, but it is awfully thick out there. We'll take a look at those visibilities in just a second. In the meantime, yeah, we're back to the heat and humidity. It is the dog days of summer with high pressure moving offshore. We're getting into a humid southwesterly flow, and the humidity is rising, and it's tropical-like air too. And with that and a cold front back to our west, I think we will start to see a few storms this afternoon and then again on Thursday. Let's talk about the visibility. It is low, only about 1/8 of a mile in fog in Salisbury, a 1/4 mile in Georgetown and Dover right now. Looks like it's improved for the eastern shore and Ocean City as well, but sometimes this fog has a mind of its own, and it just kind of moves around, so everybody should be prepared for dense fog through about 9 or 10 a.m. It's mild this morning out the door. 74 in Redden and Milton, Dagsboro 73, Ocean City 76, 74 in Bethany Beach, and nearly matching dew points indicating all the moisture in the air and the fog too. And a light southwesterly breeze as we're looking at the fog, really not showing up too well on the infrared satellite picture, but we are seeing some high clouds above the fog, and that's what we'll be seeing this morning. Farther to the west, we're seeing some showers popping up through Virginia into western PA right now with a trough, and I think with the heating of the day, we could see some of those storms here too. And then farther to the west, we're seeing a series of cold fronts through the Midwest, and that will perhaps trigger a better chance of storms as we go into your Thursday. We'll walk you through it on Futurecast. Mid-70s out the door with the fog, which lifts later this morning. And then once that does, temperatures skyrocket through the 80s to around 90 in Millsboro and Georgetown at 1:30. A little cooler at the beaches with 70s and 80s for you. Some clouds this afternoon. What you're not seeing is a stray shower or a thunderstorm, which I think we could see. 87 in Georgetown, 86 in Millsboro, and maybe still a stray storm this evening. Otherwise, very mild and muggy through the overnight. And once again, we could see some areas of fog Thursday morning with temperatures in the low 70s. And then moving into Thursday, we'll be seeing a cold front coming through and maybe a few showers and storms with that. Once again, this particular model not excited about any kind of thunderstorm activity right now. Mid-80s in Selbyville and Georgetown late morning, and then in the afternoon, low 90s perhaps from Salisbury to Long Neck with 70s and 80s at the beaches, and a few showers and storms possible in the evening hours and then slowly drying out. As we're looking at the muggy meter, it's miserable to very humid as we go through today and tomorrow. But then after a front, we do drop the humidity levels a little bit into the weekend, and then they bounce right back up again early next week. Feels like temperatures mid-90s this afternoon away from the coast, and once again mid-90s again on Thursday. Very hot day. Feeling like 80s at the beaches, and then not as bad on Friday. Feeling like low to mid-90s. Let's talk tropics. This is Tropical Storm Erin way out there in the Atlantic. It's looking like it's got some good shape right now, and it's slowly organizing. The problem is it's dealing with Saharan dust and dry air, but I think it will get into a better environment with time and then strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane later Thursday or Friday, and then track north of the Lesser Antilles, becoming a major hurricane north of Puerto Rico. Then after that, all the models tend to bend it farther to the northwest and then north, and then eventually off the Carolina coast, well to our east. Of course, that could change, but right now it looks like the effects for us would be large waves and rip current risks as we go into, say, beginning next Wednesday into Friday. But today it's upper 80s from Dover to Georgetown and Millsboro with a late day storm, 87 in Easton and Federalsburg. Salisbury 86 for you, 85 in Chincoteague. Paul Davis 7-day forecast. It's going to dry out by Friday around 86. Mid 80s Saturday, upper 80s Sunday, looking dry, and then a little cooler early next week with mid 80s and maybe another storm chance on Tuesday as we'll be watching for Erin off the East Coast.
Thank you, Bob. The Laurel Police Department is spending the week working with local kids in its Youth Police Academy. The program is designed to build relationships and teach life skills. On Tuesday, the group teamed up with Operation West Laurel for a community cleanup, part of a week-long academy focused on service, learning, and respect.
Core values, which is, we give them the acronym of RIPT, so it's respect, integrity, professionalism, and training, and trust, And so with those, we kind of emphasize to them that once you find your core values and abide by core values, your success in life normally follows that.
The chief says the program targets kids ages 10 to 15 with the goal of keeping them engaged and connected to the Laurel community as they grow. And the time is now 6:52, and we are going to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
And today's coastal pet of the day, part of that mystery gang on your screen, cute. We have Scooby. As you can see, our favorite dog detective is just missing Shaggy, Velma, and the rest of the gang. Scooby was submitted that by Deb and Lewis.
His ears are so cute.
Yeah.
We want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
Scan that QR code on your screen to submit your friends to us at Coast TV News, and then watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
It is 6:55, and here are the things you need to know before you go. A high crash location could possibly become a roundabout to ease congestion and improve safety. The roundabout is aimed to be constructed at the intersection of Gravel Hill Road and Sand Hill Road. Happening today, DelDOT representatives are hosting a workshop from 4 to 7 p.m. at Milton Elementary School. If you can't make it, officials say they will be accepting digital comments through September 19th.
Delaware's 20th House District once again has representation in Dover. Democrat Alana Berry was sworn in on Tuesday, and in a speech in the House chamber, Berry said she's excited to hit the ground running. As her first day coincided with the special session, she named education and public safety as her top priorities.
Avelo Airlines is expanding service out at the Wilmington Airport, adding more flights to Orlando and bringing back nonstop service to San Juan this fall. Starting October 1st, flights to Orlando will double to 4 times a week, and Avelo's seasonal nonstop route to San Juan will return with extra flights around the holidays.
And there's a message from the Meyer Institute. Officials there are asking you to keep an eye out for a sea turtle near the Ocean City Inlet. Meyer says the animal appears to have been hooked or entangled, and if you spot it, do not try to free it yourself. Instead, call the National Aquarium Animal Rescue.
All right, it is 6:56, and we're going to take another look at your Wednesday forecast before you head out the door.
Yeah, Bob, foggy conditions still in play at this hour.
Yeah, they are, and I think they're going to be in play for the next 2 hours, too, from Salisbury, Georgetown, Millsboro, up to Dover. Visibility less than a quarter mile at times, so really be careful out there. That fog burns off to very warm sunshine and into the upper 80s later today, feeling like mid-90s away from the coast. Maybe a stray storm. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. More storms with a cold front possible Thursday, 89. Dries out a little bit on Friday, cools off a little bit, 86. The weekend not bad, 85 Saturday, 89 Sunday. And then temperatures trending downward next week. In fact, upper 70s by Wednesday and Thursday. That's when we could be feeling the indirect effects of Erin. Right now we think it's going to be off the coast, and that could give us large waves and maybe rip current risk. We'll continue to watch that.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News today.
And the Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then we'll be back for Coast TV midday at 11.
And for even more news and coverage you can count on, download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great Wednesday morning, everybody.